Now let's dive into Isaiah 41:10. This verse holds a profound promise. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. What stands out immediately is God's assurance of his presence. Fear not, for I am with you. This isn't just a nice sentiment. It's a solid, unwavering truth that God is by our side. In a world filled with uncertainty, the knowledge that we are not alone, that we have the Creator of the universe standing with us, changes everything. But it doesn't stop there. The verse goes on, "Be not dismayed, for I am your God." Here, God is reminding us that he is in control. We don't need to be afraid of what's ahead, because we have a reliable, all-knowing, and all-powerful God leading us. When the challenges seem overwhelming, this truth stands firm. He is God, and he will guide us through. Then there's the promise of strength. I will strengthen you. This is a promise that God doesn't just stand beside us, but he actively supports us. When we feel weak, he is our strength. When we face moments of exhaustion, he is the power that carries us forward. And this is not just temporary. It's a sustaining power that we can rely on each and every day. But it gets even better. God says, "I will help you." This is a powerful statement. We aren't expected to handle everything on our own. We have a helper who steps in when we are at our limits. Whatever you're going through, know that God is there, ready to provide the assistance, wisdom, and guidance you need. Finally, he promises to uphold you with my righteous right hand. When everything feels like it's slipping through our fingers, when we think we can't hold on any longer, God's righteous right hand is there, holding us steady. This is not a fleeting or fragile support. It is a secure, firm, unshakable grip that will never let us fall. As we unpack these words, it becomes clear that Isaiah 41:10 is not just a verse to read and forget. It's a truth we can live by, a promise we can hold on to when the weight of the world feels heavy. God's presence, strength, help, and unshakable support are available to us at all times. Now, to truly live out this promise, we need something: fundamental trust. And not just any kind of trust. It's not trust in our own strength or abilities. It's a deep trust in knowing that when God says, "I am with you," he is not playing with words. He is truly by our side, and this trust gives us an entirely new perspective on our struggles. This means that instead of getting trapped in anxiety and fear, we can begin to shift our mindset. Instead of seeing problems as insurmountable mountains, we start to view them as opportunities to witness God's hand at work. He doesn't promise to remove the obstacles, but he promises to give us the strength to go through them, and that changes everything. By trusting in his help, we can act with courage and wisdom, knowing that his support will never fail. And when you feel like you're on the edge of a cliff, that sensation of about to fall, it's precisely at that moment when you realize his sustaining hand. The righteous right hand is not just a metaphor. It's something tangible, always, holding you steady in an unshakable way. Real change happens when we allow this trust to be reflected in our actions. It's not enough to know that the promise exists. We need to allow it to transform us, to make us bolder, calmer, and more confident in our choices. By trusting in what he promised, we begin to live life with the certainty that no matter what happens, we will never be alone. So how can we live this out day by day? How can we allow this promise to guide us in every area of our lives? The answer begins with continually remembering that no matter where you are or what is happening, God's faithfulness never changes. He is with you. He strengthens you. He helps you, and above all, he upholds you. This is something you can carry with you at every step. As we move forward, it's essential to understand how deeply this promise impacts our emotional and mental well-being. When we truly trust that God is with us, that he strengthens and sustains us, something powerful happens within us. Fear starts to lose its grip, anxiety begins to fade, and our minds find peace in the midst of chaos. This is what allows us to breathe deeply in moments of tension, when the worries of daily life threaten to overwhelm us. Even in the most challenging situations, we can remind ourselves of Isaiah 41:10 and declare, I am not alone. God is with me, strengthening me, helping me, upholding me. This understanding goes beyond simple comfort. It's a shift in mindset. We begin to see our struggles not as insurmountable barriers, but as opportunities to experience God's faithfulness in a deeper way. When things get tough, instead of panicking, we can trust that God already knows the way and that He is there, preparing the path for us. And the beauty of this promise is that God's help doesn't always come in the way we expect. Sometimes it's not an immediate or miraculous intervention, but the ability to see things clearly, the patience to wait, or even the strength to make the right decision at the right time. God's presence is not just a temporary fix, but an ongoing support that shows up in the small victories of everyday life. When we look back and realize we've overcome more than we thought possible, we know that God's faithfulness was with us every step of the way. So what's required now? Simply to keep moving forward, even when we can't see the entire road ahead. Trust that by living out this promise, you will experience the power of Isaiah 41:10 in a way that transforms your perspective and your confidence, not only in God, but in yourself. As we move forward, it's essential to understand how deeply this promise impacts our emotional and mental well-being. When we truly trust that God is with us, that He strengthens and sustains us, something powerful happens within us. Fear starts to lose its grip, anxiety begins to fade, and our minds find peace in the midst of chaos. This is what allows us to breathe deeply in moments of tension, when the worries of daily life threaten to overwhelm us. Even in the most challenging situations, we can remind ourselves of Isaiah 41:10 and declare, I am not alone. God is with me, strengthening me, helping me, upholding me. This understanding goes beyond simple comfort. It's a shift in mindset. We begin to see our struggles not as insurmountable barriers, but as opportunities to experience God's faithfulness in a deeper way. When things get tough, instead of panicking, we can trust that God already knows the way and that He is there, preparing the path for us. And the beauty of this promise is that God's help doesn't always come in the way we expect. Sometimes, it's not an immediate or miraculous intervention, but the ability to see things clearly, the patience to wait, or even the strength to make the right decision at the right time. God's presence is not just a temporary fix, but an ongoing support that shows up in the small victories of everyday life. When we look back and realize we've overcome more than we thought possible, we know that God's faithfulness was with us every step of the way. So what's required now? Simply to keep moving forward, even when we can't see the entire road ahead. Trust that by living out this promise, you will experience the power of Isaiah 41:10 in a way that transforms your perspective and your confidence, not only in God, but in yourself. To live out the truth of Isaiah 41:10, it's not just about knowing this promise intellectually, it's about making it a part of our daily experience. We need to actively choose to trust and rely on God in every situation. When you wake up in the morning, remind yourself that God is with you. This isn't just a comforting thought, it's a powerful truth that can shape your day. This daily reminder transforms the way we approach challenges. When you face something difficult, whether it's a decision, an emotional struggle, or a physical obstacle, instead of feeling overwhelmed or defeated, you can say, I am not alone. God is with me, and He will give me the strength to face this. It's a shift in mindset that opens the door to confidence and peace. When we remember that God is actively strengthening us, helping us, and upholding us, it changes the way we react. We don't have to live in constant fear or stress, wondering how we will make it through. Instead, we can trust that His presence will carry us through each moment. And this trust is what allows us to press forward, even when things seem uncertain. Trusting in God's faithfulness means we don't have to know every detail of the journey ahead. We simply need to take the next step, knowing that God is there to guide us every step of the way. This is where true peace comes from, the assurance that God is with us, always present, always providing. When we rest in that knowledge, we begin to walk through life with greater courage, strength, and assurance. Living out the promise of Isaiah 41:10 also means embracing the reality that, while we may face challenges, we are not facing them alone. Often when we encounter difficulties, we think we must handle everything on our own. But this verse assures us that God is with us, giving us the strength and help we need to endure. This awareness transforms our relationship with fear and uncertainty. Instead of letting fear paralyze us or overwhelm us, we can choose to take a deep breath and trust in God's presence. It's not that the challenges go away, but we begin to view them differently. With God by our side, we know we are equipped to handle whatever comes our way. One of the most powerful aspects of this promise is the fact that God doesn't just stand by passively. He promises to strengthen us, help us, and uphold us. These aren't just words of comfort, they are a call to action. When we feel weak or incapable, we can lean into God's strength and find the courage to move forward. As we embrace this mindset, we start to see that God's support is constant. Even when things seem out of control or hopeless, His hand is there to steady us, to give us peace in the storm, and to help us keep moving forward. It's this unwavering presence that makes all the difference, knowing that, in every moment, God's righteous hand is holding us up, preventing us from falling. By remembering this promise and trusting in it daily, we experience the peace that comes from knowing we are not alone. We can step into each new day with confidence, knowing that whatever comes, God is with us and He will never leave our side. Living out the promise in Isaiah 41:10 also teaches us the importance of perseverance and trust during tough times. It's easy to feel overwhelmed when we face difficulties that seem insurmountable. But this verse encourages us not to give up, reminding us that God is with us, strengthening us every step of the way. In those moments when everything feels like it's falling apart, we can hold on to this promise. God has not abandoned us. Instead of feeling discouraged or anxious, we can take a moment to pause and reflect on His unwavering presence. We are not standing alone. His strength empowers us to continue, even when the road ahead looks uncertain. One of the most remarkable things about God's promise is that His strength isn't just for the big battles. It's also for the small everyday struggles. Whether it's dealing with a difficult relationship, making a tough decision, or facing an unexpected challenge, God's help is available to us at all times. We can call on Him in every moment, knowing He is ready to provide the strength and wisdom we need. As we start to internalize this truth, our perspective changes. We no longer have to fight battles on our own. Instead, we can trust that God is actively involved in every part of our lives. His support is not limited to specific situations. It's an ongoing presence that strengthens us in every circumstance. The more we lean into this promise, the more we see how much God cares about us. He's not just a distant figure. He's intimately involved in our lives, providing the strength we need to overcome every obstacle. By trusting in His help, we can face any challenge with confidence, knowing that we are never alone. Embracing the promise of Isaiah 41:10 not only transforms our perspective on challenges, but also deepens our faith in God's constant support. When we recognize that He is with us, strengthening and helping us, it shifts our approach to life's trials. No longer do we have to fight battles alone or rely solely on our own strength. Instead, we can rely on God's unwavering presence. There are moments when life feels overwhelming, when the weight of the world seems too heavy to bear. But it's in these very moments that we must remind ourselves of God's promise. He has not forgotten us, and He is not absent in our struggles. His strength is made perfect in our weakness, and it's in those vulnerable moments that His support is most evident. When we trust that God will uphold us, we begin to experience a peace that surpasses understanding. We are able to stand firm in the face of uncertainty, knowing that we are held by a hand stronger than anything we could face. This trust allows us to be more than conquerors, not because of our own abilities, but because of the strength God gives us. It's in our reliance on Him that we discover true courage. We no longer fear the challenges before us because we know that we are not alone. With each step, God is there, providing the strength and guidance we need to move forward. This assurance gives us the freedom to face life with confidence, knowing that no matter what, God will sustain us through it all. As we continue to live out the promise of Isaiah 41:10, we begin to see how transformative it is, not just in our own lives, but also in the lives of others. When we walk through difficulties with a sense of God's presence, it becomes a testimony to those around us. Our faith in His strength and support becomes visible to others, encouraging them to also trust in God's faithfulness. People may notice how we handle challenges differently, with peace and assurance instead of fear and anxiety. This can open doors for conversations about the source of our strength, allowing us to share the hope we have in God. Our trust in His promises becomes an example of His power and love at work in our lives, drawing others to Him. The beauty of this is that God's promise is not just for us individually, it's something that can impact entire communities. As we share the story of how God has upheld us, we become a source of encouragement to those who are struggling. Our testimonies of God's strength in our weaknesses inspire others to lean on Him and trust in His unwavering support. So as we move forward, let's not just keep this promise to ourselves. Let it be a light to others, showing them the power of God's presence in every situation. As we trust in His strength, we become living examples of His love, inviting others to experience His peace and help for themselves. As we reflect on Isaiah 41:10 and continue to trust in God's promise, we realize that this verse is not just a source of comfort in times of trouble, it is a call to live boldly and confidently. Knowing that God is with us, that He strengthens and upholds us, should empower us to live with purpose and courage, even when we face the unknown. This promise encourages us to step into the future with faith, knowing that we do not walk alone. We are equipped with divine strength and help to overcome whatever challenges lie ahead. No matter what we may face, we can be assured that God's presence will guide us, providing the strength, wisdom, and support we need. The more we embrace this truth, the more we begin to see how deeply it impacts our lives. It changes the way we approach every day, every situation, and every obstacle. With God's help, we are not just surviving but thriving, walking in confidence and peace. So, let this truth be your foundation. Let it be the strength that carries you through the tough moments and the peace that calms your heart. Remember, God is with you, and He will never leave you. His promise in Isaiah 41:10 is a constant reminder that no matter what you face, you are never alone.